having grown up worshipping Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen and still very much admiring them as an adult, I feel like every single one of their films brings me some level of enjoyment. I think, though, Getting There might be one of my least favourites. And I think this is probably because they were getting older, and when I watched it as a child, the age difference seemed much more colossal, even though there was only about 6 years. There's 6 years between us. But they'd turned 16 in this film, and it's about them turning 16 and getting their licenses and going on a road trip to the Winter Olympics in Utah. And obviously that makes them quite a bit different. For my younger self at the time, I would have been 10 or 11, depending on what time of year this was released. And I just think that kind of bridged the gap between us. So for that reason, this is not one of my favourite films of theirs, but I still do like it. So this was released, as I said, it was released in 2002 actually, so I would have been 10, which obviously makes it an even bigger gap. Directed by Steve Purcell, written by Michael Swerdlick. And as I said, it's about the girls getting together with some friends and going on a road trip to the Winter Olympics. Needless to say, things don't exactly go to plan, and there are various obstacles that they have to overcome. Mary-Kate and Ashley play Kylie and Taylor Hunter respectively, and I have to say, as always, their fashion is on top game. They have a lot more flesh revealed in this one than they do when in, say, Passport to Paris or Winning London. They're definitely maturing, they're getting a lot older, and that's very obvious. I feel like this is, because it's the first film where they're 16, where they're technically an adult in the UK at least. I'm not sure if it's the same in the States or if you have to be 18. But in the UK, at the very least, they're technically adults. So this, for me, as a child watching it, I'm watching them be adults. And I think it's very different. It's a very different vibe. So viewing it now as an adult, watching it, it's got all of the hallmarks of an Olsen film. You've got the problem that they have to encounter. You have your very different personalities from the two twins. And you have phenomenal fashion because they always have the most wonderful costumes. And that's just something that would never ever change with an Olsen film, regardless of how old they became. And I like it. That's as much as I can say. It's not my favourite, as I said, because it doesn't have that nostalgic love of this film. It's something I can't relate to. I never cared about the Olympics. I'm not very athletic at all. So that subject matter for me wasn't interesting, but it's obviously not really what the film is about, so that's not really a problem, but it does make it a little bit more worldly than a lot of their other films, which sounds weird because it's based in America, where a lot of the other films are in Paris and London and Rome. But I think the fact that they're travelling a very big distance without adults really shows that they're growing up now, and their style of film may be taking a slightly different direction. But, despite that, it still feels like an Olsen film. Would I recommend it? If you're an Olsen fan, absolutely. If you are looking for a fun, relaxing film that's easy to watch, maybe. By all means. If you do not care for the Olsens at all, and you do not like films that are definitely for children or younger audiences, then it won't be for you. But, it delivers what it needs to. We have the Olsens, we have some really interesting characters, very much like most of their characters, some great fashion, a decent enough narrative development. May not be my favourite, but certainly there's nothing wrong with it.